السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, this is a recorded lecture. We recorded it yesterday, Sunday, the 3rd of Sha'baan 1446, matching the 2nd of February 2025. It is the session number 134 of our series here, Al-Jadeed في شرح كتاب التوحيد. Unfortunately, only a little bit was recorded. There was an issue with the technical issue. So therefore, I am recording it today, Monday, inshallah ta'ala. But as you see, the date and the number, everything is the same as yesterday. So to keep the flow going the same way, and I put on the side that it is re-recorded. That's why on YouTube, when in the series, you might not find it in the order. You might find it with today's date, which is the 3rd of February. But anyhow, inshallah, the number, just follow the numbers of the also the date is the same as yesterday. So we are still in the chapter باب من الشرك إرادة الإنسان بعمله الدنيا. That part of shirk, association of partners with Allah, is for the individual to want with his work, with his deed, religious deed. He wants with that the worldly gain, the worldly pleasures. And we went through the ayah from Surah Hud, the ayat number 15 and 16 from Surah Hud. من كان يريد الحياة الدنيا وزينتها. The one who wants the worldly life, the worldly pleasures, or the pleasures of the worldly life, وزينتها, and its beauty, its adornments, its beautifications. نوفي إليهم أعمالهم فيها وهم فيها لا يبخسون. We will fully reward them, that is for their deeds in it, in this worldly life, and they in it will not be diminished at all. They will not be diminished of their reward at all. أولئك الذين ليس لهم في الآخرة إلا النار. Those are the ones whom they have in the akhirah, whom they will have nothing in the akhirah except the fire. إلا النار وحبط ما صنعوا فيها. Whatever they have done in it is abolished. وباطل ما كانوا يعملون, and invalid is that which they used to do. Surah Hud, verses 15 and 16. We went through the explanation of the words and the general explanation and the benefits, and we stopped at the point where he said a mulahada, a note. So let me put the book on the screen, inshallah. That's where we reached, mulahada. He says طلب الدنيا بعمل الآخرة ثلاثة أقسام. Seeking the worldly gain, seeking the dunya with the work of the akhirah, with the work that is meant for the next life, is three categories. So we're talking about amal al-akhirah. It's an action that is meant for the akhirah, for the next life. It's a religious deed. But someone wants, with that religious deed, he wants gain in this worldly life. He wants worldly gain, worldly matters. Those people are upon three categories. أحدها, one of them, أن يعمل الخير خالصا لوجه الله, to do goodness sincerely for the face of Allah. لكنه يرجو من الله أن يثيبه عليه في الدنيا, but he hopes from Allah that he shall reward him for it in this worldly life. كالذي يتصدق لأجل حفظ ماله, like the one who donates for the sake of protecting and preserving his wealth. وهذا القسم محرم. This category is prohibited. يعني he donates not thinking of the akhirah at all. The akhirah is not on his mind. He only wants his money to be protected in this dunya. So this one is prohibited. وثانيها, the second category, أن يعمل الخير لأجل رياء الناس وسمعتهم. To do the goodness, to do the good act for the sake of showing off to the people and for the sake of them hearing about him. Riya, show off, ostentation, if you want to use that word, to be seen of men, to be seen of the people. وسمعتهم, to be heard by the people, so the people can hear about him. وهذا القسم شرك بالله. This category is association of partners with Allah. And this has passed in the previous chapter about الرياء, show off. وثالثها, the third category, أن يعمل الخير لأجل كسب مادي من الناس. To do the good deed, to do the goodness, الخير, for the sake of materialistic earning. كسب, earning, gain. لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. كسب is an earning. He says a materialistic type of earning. مادي أو مادي, كسب مادي. مادة is material. The reference to it is مادي, materialistic earning. من الناس, from the people. He wants to get this materialistic gain from the people. He says مثل الذي يحج لأن يأخذ مالا على الحجة لا من أجل الله تعالى. Like the one who performs pilgrimage, so that he will take money for the pilgrimage that he has done, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he wants to take the money. He does the hajj. Hajj is from the works of al-akhirah. He performs the hajj because he will get money for it, not for the sake of Allah, only for the money. There's a difference between the one who takes the money in order to perform hajj because he wants to perform hajj, but he does not have the ability. So I'm sure you've heard about what is called hajj badal, right? When you have someone perform hajj on your behalf or on behalf of someone who is deceased. People will try to find somebody who will perform hajj on behalf of their father, their mother, and like that. So you have someone who loves to go to hajj, but he cannot afford it. So then they will tell him, listen, we'll give you this money, go do hajj on behalf of my father, on behalf of my mother, and I'll pay you for that. I will pay you this much money to cover for your cost, and maybe there is extra that remains for you. Right? So this one, he takes the money in order to perform the hajj. The other one, he is performing the hajj only to take the money, right? Because when you go to hajj there, of course, this hajj badal, the hajj is for the person that you are doing it for, on behalf of that person. But the rest, you're praying 5 daily prayers in the haram, 100,000 for every salah, more than what you pray elsewhere. The hajj season and the dhikr and the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Eid, the day of Arafah, attending that and making dua. Of course, the person who, the hajjah is for the person on behalf, the one you're doing it on his behalf. But the rest of these things, your salah is yours, and the adhkar and the closeness and the dua and all of that. There's definitely many people would love to do that. So take the money in order for you to perform hajj. not to perform Hajj only to take the money. And if they don't give you money, then you're not doing it. That's not, so this is the one he's talking about. He is performing Hajj only to take money for that pilgrimage he's making, not for the sake of Allah. أو الذي يتصف بالدين والصلاح, or the one who strives hard to gain the qualities of religion and righteousness لأجل أن يتعين في وظيفة دينية, so that he will be assigned to a religious post, a religious job. لا من أجل الله, not for the sake of Allah. So he goes, he studies, he becomes some a man of practicing the religion and righteousness, so that he will gain that religious post. Not for the sake of Allah. Not for the sake of Allah. And unfortunately, within some subhanallah, Sufi orders, you find the sheikh in the area who is like entitled to that position. When he leaves, he wants to have his son, and then the grandson becomes, and then like this great-great-grandson, they will just inherit the position. And those, for them, they have to have some sort of religious, practicing, even some maybe certificates or some ijazat or something knowledge, so that he will be fit for the post. So we'll do that. They will do this just for the sake of that position, not going out from the family of the sheikh. This is something widely practiced and very common. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So those, they will do what it takes in order to be in that position. Or like a religious school, right? They will just do it in order to be in that position. They will even change madhab for that. They will even change madhab for that, because that school is only for Hanafi or for Shafi'i. So they will switch from their madhab in order to just be in that position, right? So anyhow, the one who does a religious action, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but for the sake of whatever worldly gain, money, like the Hajj, or a position or status, like you want to end up being a judge, a qadi, or an imam of a masjid or something like that. He said, هذا القسم شرك بالله. This type, because they only want to do this. They only want the money. They only want the position. They have nothing on their mind about Allah. شرك بالله, association of partners with Allah. لأنه قصد بعمله غير وجه الله, because he intended with his action other than the face of Allah. أما من أراد بعمله وجه الله, as for the one who sought with his, or he wanted, أراد, he wanted with his action the face of Allah, so he's sincere. لكن حصل له شيء من الدنيا فأخذه, but he gained some of the worldly things. He gained, achieved it, not intending it, but he got it. فأخذه, so he took it. فهذا لا إثم عليه. This person, there is no sin against him. وينقص أجره بقدر ما أخذ من الدنيا. And his reward will diminish, will decrease according to how much he took of the worldly matters. كالذي يجاهد من أجل الله ويأخذ الغنيمة. Like the one who strives in the way of Allah and he takes the war booty. He takes the war booty. I will mention the hadith again, which I did mention yesterday also. And this hadith is in different books of hadith. Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawood, An-Nasai, and Ibn Majah. This hadith that showed up is in the wording of Ibn Majah. The wording of Ibn Majah. So I'll tell you the hadith number. Maybe you want to go and check it. Sahih Muslim 1906. Muslim 1906. Sunnah.com. It will take you there. Or Sunan Abi Dawood 2497. or Sunan An-Nasa'i 3125, or the Sunan of Ibn Majah 2262, or 2785 in the Sunan of Ibn Majah. It is in the Musnad also, Hadith 6577, according to Al-Bahith al-Hadithi. I'm just taking that from there. It says, ما من غازية تغزو في سبيل الله فيصيب غنيمة. No group of fighters who go on an expedition of fighting in the way of Allah, فيصيب غنيمة, then they achieve gain, يعني war booty, spoils of war, إلا تعجلوا ثلثي أجرهم, except that they will rush to have 2/3 of their reward. فإن لم يصيبوا غنيمة تم لهم أجرهم. If they do not achieve any gain, any war booty, then their reward is complete for them. So that is the case. Your reward diminishes according to how much you gain of the dunya, as long as you are sincere for the sake of Allah. And there are ahadith mentioned encouraging us to do righteous deeds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions for them rewards of this dunya. So if you intend to do it for the sake of Allah sincerely, and wish for whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assigned for a worldly gain for that, that is rahmah, that is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the following session has more about that, inshallah. المناقشة, the discussion. اشرح الكلمات الآتية, explain the following words. من كان يريد الحياة الدنيا وزينتها, the one who wants or wanted, or he wants, the one who wishes for al-hayat ad-dunya, the worldly gain, the reward of the worldly life, وزينتها, and its adornment. نوفي إليهم أعمالهم فيها, we will fulfill them the reward for their deeds in it. وهم فيها لا يبخسون, they will not be diminished, they will not be decreased, nothing will be taken away from the reward. And we mentioned that bakhs is to take away or to give little. And Surah Yusuf, وَشَرَوْهُ بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ دَرَاهِمَ مَعْدُودَةٍ, they bought Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, was never a slave, he's a noble prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, but that's what they did, they paid a very little price. Bakhs, this is the word here, but it's the verb يبخسون in the passive voice. وحبط ما صنعوا فيها, حبط, it is destroyed, it is abolished, it's wiped out. ما صنعوا فيها, whatever they have done in it. وباطل ما كانوا يعملون, what they have done, what they used to do is invalid. باء اشرح الآيتين شرحا إجماليا, explain the two verses, a general explanation. جيم استخرج 5 فوائد من الآيتين مع ذكر المأخذ, extract 5 benefits from the 2 verses alongside mentioning the way you derived this, the way you deduced them. وضح مناسبة الآيتين للباب, explain how the 2 verses are suitable to the chapter. Next, وفي الصحيح, this is in Sahih al-Bukhari 2887. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال, upon the authority of Abi Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, who said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, تعس عبد الدينار, wretched, miserable is the, or ruined, destroyed is the slave servant of the gold coin of dinar. Dinar is a coin that used to be made of gold. تعس عبد الدرهم, wretched, miserable is the slave servant of the silver coin. تعس عبد الخميصة, wretched, miserable is the slave servant of al-khamisa. Al-Khamisa is a type of clothing that has markings or embroideries in it, يعني a fancy, frilly type of garment. Then here it says in the original, تعس عبد الخميلة. It is dropped here. It is dropped here from the online copy. Those who have the older copy, it has the copy there, and those brothers who attend with us, they printed the book. They have it there, but for some reason here it is dropped. Probably because actually in Sahih al-Bukhari, if you go to 2887, you will not find Abd al-Khamila. You will not find it there. The commentators on the ahadith here, they say it looks like that the Sheikh, maybe he took it from the words of Ibn Taymiyyah, and the words of Ibn Taymiyyah has that word there. In Sahih al-Bukhari, another version of the hadith, it says ta'isa, it mentions al-qatifa. Al-qatifa. Al-qatifa is the same as al-khamila. Is the same as al-khamila. And inshallah he will explain it more. We'll do that when we reach the explanation of the words. But for now, al-khamila is a type of garment that has fringes on it. So it's again a fancy type of clothing. And they said al-khamila, according to Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen in his explanation, he says it could be something to sit on also, like you can use it as a bedding, right? So basically he's concerned about the fancy clothing, the good clothing, and the good bedding, or clothing and clothing. If we take khamila to be another fancy clothing, as it will come, they will explain it. He says, in أعطي رضي وإن منع سخط. This person who's a slave servant of the dinar and the dirham, right, and the khamisa clothing and the khamila type of clothing, and ta'isa here, it could mean a report. He is miserable, he is wretched, he is sad, or it could be making dua against him. May he be sad and miserable and wretched, right? Two ways of understanding it. It explains how he is abd, how he is a slave servant of the money and the clothing and the beautiful matters of this worldly life. It says, in أعطي رضي وإن منع سخط. If he was given, يعني of the worldly matters, he will be pleased. وإن منع سخط. If he was prevented, if he was deprived of the worldly matters, سخط, he becomes displeased. تعس وانتكس. May he be miserable and sad and wretched. وانتكس. May he fail. May he fail. May he lose. This is dua against him. وإذا شيك فلانتقش. The dua continues against him to say, if he was hit with a thorn, if he was pricked with a thorn, may he not be able to take it out. May he not be able to take it out. May he not be able to even find help so that he will take it out. So, إذا شيك فلن تقش. May he not be able to pluck that out. May he not be able to tweezer it out. Right? That thorn. طوبى لعبد آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله. طوبى. طوبى comes from طيب, good, pure, good and pure. طوبى, if you use the superlative, أطيب, أطيب for the masculine, طوبى for the feminine. So good or good news, goodness, طوبى could mean paradise. It could mean a tree in paradise, as an authentic hadith about that. A very shady tree in paradise, and the goodness itself. So anyhow, يعني it's good news and good ending. May he be in paradise. طوبى لعبد آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله. Good news or paradise for a servant who is grabbing the rein or the reins of his horse, the lead rope of his horse, right? في سبيل الله, in the way of Allah. أشعث رأسه, his hair is disheveled or messy. مغبرة قدماه, his 2 feet are dusty. إن كان في الحراسة كان في الحراسة. If he was assigned for guarding, to guard the troops, he will be fulfilling that job of guarding. وإن كان في الساقة كان في الساقة. And if he was assigned to being at the rear, the end of the army, then he will be fulfilling that duty in the rear of the army, the back of the army. إن استأذن لم يؤذن له. If he asked permission, he will not be permitted. Yani if he asked permission to enter, to come in to like someone of status, maybe to advise or to intercede for someone, they disregard him. He will not be given permission. وإن شفع لم يشفع. And if he interceded on behalf of someone, he will not be granted intercession. They will disregard his intercession. They will not approve his intercession. طيب, so this is the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith 2887. So if you write Bukhari 2887 sunnah.com and you Google it, it will take you to that hadith, and you will see that the wording is a little bit different. So as you can see here, تعس عبد الدينار, تعس عبد الدرهم, تعس عبد الخميصة. The actual wording in the available copy of Bukhari, it doesn't repeat the word تعس again. It says تعس عبد الدينار وعبد الدرهم وعبد الخميصة. And it doesn't say تعس عبد الخميلة. It doesn't say that. In another narration, another version of the hadith, it says القطيفة, which means the same as الخميلة. Allah knows best. إن أعطي رضي وإن لم يعط سخط, تعس وانتكس وإذا شيك فلا انتقش. طوبى لعبد آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله, أشعث رأسه مغبرة قدماه, إن كان في الحراسة كان في الحراسة, وإن كان في الساقة كان في الساقة, إن استأذن لم يؤذن له, وإن شفع لم يشفع. This is the exact wording. So without this second ta'isa and without this third ta'isa, it's ta'isa abdul dinar wa abdul dirham wa abdul khamisa, right? And it doesn't say al-khamila either. Then the rest of the hadith is the same. That's the wording in the available copy of Bukhari. Inshallah. شرح الكلمات, the explanation of the words. تعس عبد الدينار, wretched, ruined is the slave servant of the gold coin. أي هلك وشقيا, meaning هلك, may he die, may he be destroyed, ruined. وشقيا, may he be sad and wretched and miserable. Al-Khamisa, the word Al-Khamisa is a garment, as we mentioned, a type of clothing. هي كساء, كساء. It is a clothing. من الخز. خز means حرير, silk. It's made of silk. أو الصوفي, or it is of صوف, which is wool. معلم, معلم. معلم means has markings. علامة, علامة is a mark. علامة, right? معلم is marked, has marking. So it could be striped or embroidered, having some decoration or design on it. Yani it's again, as I mentioned, it's a fancy, frilly type of showy, ostentatious, decorative type of clothing, or decorated type of clothing. Al-Khamila is al-Qatifa. Same, and it's a type of clothing also, same as al-Qatifa. Now, al-Khamisa is from silk or wool that has embroidery on it, embroidered or has markings. Al-Qatifa or al-Khamila هي لباس له خمائل, is a clothing that has خمائل من أي نوع كان, of any type of clothing, any type of material it may be. خمائل is the plural of خميلة. خمائل is like what is called أهداب, and the word hudb is actually fringes, decorative fringes that they put on the clothing, right? They put it at the edge, and so الخمائل الأهداب. The word أهداب, the plural of hudb or hudba, the eyelashes, these the eyelashes here, this is أهداب. You see the lashes, how you have those there, that's hudb and أهداب, right? So the same thing they will have for the clothing. They will have those decorative borders, threads will be hanging, or fringed clothing. Sometimes they will gather together these threads, that decorating threads or fringes. They will put them together and they will call that tassel. You see this kufiya that I'm wearing, this kufiya, right? It has those fringes here, those tassels. You see a number of them put together here. That's a tassel, right? And the whole thing is as decorative, as you can see here. So this is the type of ahdab or khama'il. Any clothing that have khama'il, that have those fringed decorative border to it. So again, we're talking about another type of fancy clothing, right? Al-Khamila. So he's the abd of the Khamila or Qatifa. And this is a clothing that has those decorations on it, whatever type it may be, whatever type of material it will be. And according to Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, it could be, as I mentioned, used as a bedding. You can, so it's like he's careful about his clothing to be the best, and he's careful about even the furniture or materials that he will use to sleep on and the likes of that. Ta'isa wa intakas. Ta'isa, we know it's, we mentioned that may he be sad or wretched or miserable. Intakasa ay khaba wa khasara. Intakasa, originally it means to flip and to revert. And nakasa, tankis, those of you who studied some of the subject of the fiqh, they will say that some madhahab, they will say that the tankis is disliked, where you flip. You recite Surah Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Nas in the first rak'ah, then you recite Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq in the second rak'ah. You should be going by order. So if you nakasa, you flip the order, you reverse the order. Of course, you cannot do this with the ayat, the verses. You have to recite the whole surah from beginning to end. Now you cannot, reverse. But in terms of you recite a later surah and then an earlier surah, and you recite Amma Yatasa'alun, then you recite Aman al-Rasul in the second rak'ah, that, according to some, this is called. I brought it for the issue of the language, the word tankis and nakasa and takasa. Right? That's why I brought it. Otherwise, it is established in the Sunnah that Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Qiyamul Layl, he recited Surah Al-Baqarah, then An-Nisa, then Ali Imran. Right? But some would argue that was in the beginning, and later on, he was reciting, in order. And there are also the surah that he used to recite together, alayhi salatu wassalam. If you check that in Sifat Salatul Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in his recitation in the surah, in the salah, you will find two surahs, maybe they're not in order. But again, I heard some of our mashayikh, they say that was in the beginning. Later on, he was reading according to the order of the surahs that we find in the Mus'haf, and the scholars differ about this order of the surahs. Is it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or is it the companions that they put that in order that way? Anyhow, I brought it just for the word intakasa. And we have in the Quran, Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah 65, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, when he broke the idols, and he told them that this big one amongst them is the one who did it. So ask them if they are able to speak. فَاسْأَلُوهُمْ إِنْ كَانُوا يَنْطِقُونَ. Then when they discussed it, Allah says, ثُمَّ نُكِسُوا عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمْ. They flipped back, right? Reversed. Then they said, you know that these don't speak. So nakasa, this is the word here that we're looking for. Also in Surah Yasin, ayah 68, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن نُعَمِّرْهُ نُنَكِّسْهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ. The one who give him long life, we reverse him, we flip him in terms of the creation. Yani his body will not be as healthy as it was. Right? When you are young, you see very clearly. When you grow old, your eyesight reverses, goes down, right? And your body parts and all of that. So the word is there. That's where it comes from. Intakasa here, meaning he flips back, he reverses. But it means in general, يعني أي خاب وخسر, meaning khaba, he fails, khasira, he failed and he lost. Right? He fails and loses. والانتكاس في الأصل عودة المرض بعد شفائه. It says intikas, the word intikas, انتكس ينتكس, intikas, and muntakis. Right? In origin, عودة المرض بعد شفائه, for the sickness to come back after he got healed, after the person got healed. What we say in English, we say he relapses, right? To relapse. Right? So you get a sickness, you heal from it, and then it comes back again, and it goes back and intensifies again. So that's intikas. And the one who's muntakis, maybe someone is practicing, started, being religious and like that, and then wal'iyadhu billah, he flipped back. So we say he's muntakis, right? Wal'iyadhu billah. That's the word intakasa, meaning here he lost and he fails. وَإِذَا شِيكَ فَلَنْتَقَشْ. If he was hit with a thorn, shika, if he was pricked, فَلَنْتَقَشْ, may he not be able to pluck it out, to tweezer it out, to take it out. انتقش. انتقش بالمنقاش. The tool that they use is called minqash, and that is like a tweezer, a tweezer to pluck, to pick out the thorn. So he's making dua against him that if even a thorn pricks him, may he not be able to tweezer it out, may he not be able to pluck it out. أي إذا أصابته شوكة, meaning if he was hit with a thorn, شوكة, thorn, فلا يجد من يخرجها, he may not find the one who will take it out. والمقصود هنا, what is meant here, إذا وقع في البلاء, if this person falls into a trial, falls into a calamity, لا يجد من يترحم عليه, he will not find anyone to show him mercy, أو يعطف عليه, to show him compassion, أو يساعده or to help him والعياذ بالله, because he is so much focused on the dunya. Rasulullah sallallahu makes dua against him that he will not find anyone to be compassionate or be to sympathize with him والعياذ بالله تعالى. طوبى, here he said طوبى أي الجنة. As I mentioned, the word طوبى, one of the meanings is الجنة, paradise. وقيل شجرة في الجنة, and it was said شجرة في الجنة, a tree in paradise. And I mentioned that there is a hadith in this regard. You will hear it in the next session, inshallah. If you listen to the following session, you will find that hadith and where it is in the Silsila Sahiha by Shaykh Al-Albani. But if it's a tree in paradise, or it is paradise, or Tuba meaning good and pure or good news, then all of it leads to the same thing, which is paradise. طوبى لعبد آخذ بعنان فرسه في سبيل الله. Grabbing, taking, آخذ, أخذ يأخذ, آخذ, taking, grabbing, بعنان. العنان is where you control the horse from, right? So it's the harness or the reins or the rein, or R-E-I-N, the rein or the reins, or the lead, where you lead it from, or the lead rope, عنان فرسه في سبيل الله, in the way of Allah. أي محارب لإعلاء كلمة الله, meaning he is a warrior, he is a fighter to raise up, إعلاء, to make the word of Allah higher and supreme. أشعث رأسه, أشعث, disheveled, messy, رأسه, his head, يعني his hair. أي مشغول في الجهاد عن تنظيف شعره وترجيله, meaning busy, مشغول, busy in jihad, in fighting. From, he's busied away from تنظيف شعره وترجيله, cleaning his hair and combing it. Now, يعني in the normal cases, normal times, نظافة, cleanliness, and fixing your hair, combing it, and like that, that is something good in Al-Islam, something good in Al-Islam. Of course, as long as يعني you don't exaggerate in that, you become really feminine, huh? Because يعني the man becomes like a woman, too soft and too, everything, no hair is, he's so careful about himself. We have this waliyadhu billah sickness. Younger generation, some of them are really overly doing that. Yani boys that end up looking like girls, waliyadhu billah. So, but otherwise, cleaning the hair and fixing it and combing it, this is from the sunnah, as long as you don't exaggerate that in that. But this person, his hair is messy and disheveled because he's so busy in fighting for the sake of Allah. مغبرة قدماه, his 2 feet are dusty. أي ملازم له الغبار. الغبار is dust. So الغبار is ملازم له, is always with him, sticking to him. Yani dust is always sticking to him, accompanying him, with him. لكثرة جهاده, because of the abundant, the jihad, that is a lot of jihad that he is performing. ومصابرته في سبيل الله, that he is really putting effort in being patient in the way of Allah against the enemy. You have sabara, to be patient. You have sabara. When you add the alif, now you are patient in front of your enemy who is also patient. اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا. So sabara, sabran, sabara, musabaratan. Musabara is the name for that action of being patient and exerting extra patience towards the enemy. إن كان في الحراسة كان في الحراسة. If he was in guarding, he will be in guarding, meaning if he was assigned the post of guarding as a guard, to work as a guard, he will do just that and be a guard. أي إن وكل إليه حراسة الجيش والمحافظة عليه, meaning if he was entrusted with the post of guarding the army and preserving it, protecting it, محافظة. امتثل ذلك, he will abide by that. امتثل, he will carry out this duty. ولم يقصر, and he does not fall short. تقصير, قصر يقصر. He does not fall short بنوم أو غيره, by sleeping or other than that. He's not negligent. He takes care of the post that he is assigned, that is assigned to him. إن كان في الساقة كان في الساقة. If he was in the rear, the back of the army, he will be in the back of the army. أي, meaning إن جعل في مؤخرة الجيش صار فيها ولزمها. Meaning if he was put in the rear, the end of the army, he goes there, he will be there. صار فيها, he will become fulfilling that position. ولزمها, he sticks to it. He doesn't choose. He follows commands. He is very disciplined. He listens and he fulfills whatever the leaders want from him. وإن شفع لم يشفع. If he interceded, he will not be granted intercession. His intercession will not be approved. Meaning, وإن توسط لأحد عند الملوك. توسط. If he mediates. To be a wasita. Wasita is to be a mediator in between two things, right? So if he mediates, if he intercedes and mediates for someone, لأحد عند الملوك, with the kings, ونحوهم and their likes, يعني the leader, the boss, the leader of the company, the chief of the tribe. If he goes and mediates, he wants something, give that person, help him with this or that. ونحوهم, he intercedes. لم تقبل وساطته. His mediation will not be accepted. لهوانه عليهم, because he is viewed insignificant. He is degraded in their eyes. لهوانه عليهم. Hawan is a degradation. Being in a state of insignificance. They don't look up to him. They look down. They actually look down upon him. So he is with Allah. He is very dear to Allah. He's a man of status with Allah. But then with the people, they don't care about him. الشرح الإجمالي, the general explanation. في هذا الحديث بين رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. In this hadith, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم clarified أن من الناس من تكون الدنيا أكبر همه. That amongst the people are those whom the dunya will be أكبر, the greatest, the most grand of his concern. أكبر همه. ومبلغ علمه, the utmost, the end where his knowledge would reach. What he knows, the peak of what he knows about is the dunya. He knows the full details of the worldly matters. Details of cars, details of clothing, details of houses, details of apartments. And some people are really, really amazing in this. You wonder at them how much they, right? But some people are like that. The greatest concern, the utmost of what he knows. وهدفه الأول والأخير, and his goal, hadaf is goal. We are learning the Arabic. Hadaf is goal. It's a target. And the soccer, when they score a goal, they say hadaf. Right? They scored a hadaf. They scored a goal. Right? That's what it is. Goal is hadaf. Right? And the one who scores a lot, they call him haddaf. Haddaf. He always scores. He scores a lot of goals. Right? So this one, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ هَدَفَهُ الْأَوَّلُ وَالْأَخِيرُ. The first and last of his goals is his first and last goal is, an objective is, الدنيا والعياذ بالله. And we have the hadith اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معاصيك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك، ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا. اللهم متعنا بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحييتنا، واجعله الوارث منا، واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا، وانصرنا على من عادانا، ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا، ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا. That's part of the dua. The Sheikh, he used it here. Do not make the dunya the most grand, the greatest, the biggest of our concern, and do not make it the utmost of what we know about. Right? There are those who are very well versed in the details of the akhirah. Very well versed in the details of the akhirah. And there are those who, they can tell you all about the dunya. Some of it is dunya that is allowed, but they are diving and too much in it. And some of it is even والعياذ بالله, things that are not right, things that are prohibited, but they know so much about them. So this person whose main goal is the dunya, he says وأن من كانت هذه حاله, the one whom his condition is just this, من كانت هذه حاله سيكون مصيره الهلاك والخسران. His end مصير, his end, his consequence, right? Final end, مصير, final destination will be الهلاك والخسران, destruction and loss. Destruction and loss, being destroyed and being in a state of loss, losing. وعلامة هذا الصنف, the sign of this type. The word صنف is type, category. علامة هذا الصنف, what is the sign of this people, of this type of people, من الناس, of the people. التي تفضح سريرته, the sign of this type of people which will expose his intention, his inner secret. سريرة, the plural is سرائر. يوم تبلى السرائر in the Quran, يوم تبلى السرائر, Surah At-Tariq, سرائر, the plural of سريرة, inner secret. So those inner secrets will be exposed. Will expose him, right? He has a sign exposing his intentions. His intention is just the dunya. There is a sign for him. What is the sign? حرصه الشديد على الدنيا, his extreme diligence and greed for the worldly matters, the worldly pleasures. فإن أعطي منها رضي. إن أعطي منها رضي. If he was given of the worldly matters, money or the likes, gain, then he will be pleased. وإن لم يعط منها سخط. If he was not given of it, he will be displeased. ومنهم من هدفه, that's the first kind. Second kind of people, منهم من هدفه رضا الله والدار الآخرة. Amongst the people whose goal, هدف, whose goal is the pleasure of Allah and the next life. فلا يتطلع إلى جاه. He does not look up to جاه. جاه is status and fame. He does not look up to status and position and fame. ولا يطلب شهرة. Okay, status, let's use جاه, let's use status and position, regard. ولا يطلب شهرة. He does not seek fame. شهرة is fame. He does not seek to be well known. شهرة. إنما يقصد بعمله طاعة الله ورسوله. He only intends by his action the obedience of Allah and his messenger. وعلامة هذا الصنف من الناس, and the sign of this type of people عدم الاهتمام بمظهره, that he is not concerned with his appearance, his outlook, مظهر, appearance. ظهر يظهر ظهورا. مظهر is appearance, outlook, the way you are displaying yourself to others. He doesn't care about his appearance. From the signs also, هوانه على الناس, that the people look down upon him, the people degrade him. وابتعاده عن ذوي المناصب والهيئات, and that he is distancing himself. ابتعاده, he's distanced. ابتعد يبتعد ابتعادا, مبتعد. So he pushes himself further away. يبتعد. He is distancing himself from whom? عن ذوي المناصب والهيئات, from the people of positions. مناصب, mansib is a post, a position. He is the head of this, he is the secretary of that, he is the vice president of this, and so on and so forth. Right? Mansib, he is staying away from those people who have positions. والهيئات, hayat, notable people, right? People who are notable people, reputable people, or people of repute, right? He is away from those people. فإن استأذن, you know how the people of dunya, they love to hang around. They love to hang around those people because they might, get some of their dunya, they might, get something, right? Many of them, they try to befriend them. If those people lose their posts, lose their positions, or lose, the reputable status that they had because of the position, what happens to them? Many people ignore them. And now, as if they don't know them, they go to the new people. That's the people of the dunya do. But the people of the akhirah that are praiseworthy, they stay away from people of status, people of position, people of repute. فَإِنِ اسْتَأْذَنَ عَلَيْهِمْ لَمْ يُؤْذَنْ لَهُ. If he would ask permission to come in to see them, they will not give him permission. Why? He's away from those people of positions and repute. Right? So they neglect him, they abandon him. He asks permission to come and see them and talk to them, maybe for advice, maybe to intercede for someone else. They don't even give him permission to see him, let alone, grant him what he wants, but they don't even allow him to come in to see them, to speak to them. وَإِن شَفَعَ عِنْدَهُمْ لَمْ يُشَفِّعُوهُ. And if he intercedes with them, they will not grant him what he intercedes for. So he goes, there is this guy, please, help him with his status, with his issue. He has a problem with this, with that. They will not give him, they will not give him what he asks for. They will not, his mediation is not going to be acceptable with them. He said, لكن مصيره الجنة. But his end, his final abode, masir, final destination, is al-Jannah, paradise. وَنِعْمَ الثَّوَابِ. And what a great reward. And what a great reward. This is how much we have done yesterday on Sunday. So I stop here. And alhamdulillah, the rest of the chapter, Al-Fawaid, and the rest of the chapter, and the reading of the original from At-Ta'liq al-Rashid by Sheikh Ali rahimahullah ta'ala, we have done in today's lecture, Monday. So inshallah, you look at that. Inshallah, this was a re-recording, as I mentioned, of our Sunday's lecture, session number 134. So if you are going through the series, you might find this 134 after today's session, which is 135, which we did today. So please watch 134 first, then go to 135. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us from what we heard, and to make us from the people who listen to a statement and follow the best of it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the people who are the people of the akhirah, the people of the next life. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to facilitate for us whatever is good and enough for us of the worldly matters, and not to make us in need of anyone other than Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum wa ahsan Allah ilaykum wa jazakum Allahu khayran wa subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.